Hello world, hello YouTube, Dan, how you all doing out there? Right, unfortunately I'm going to do something that's going to make me unpopular. I'm going to do a bit of Marvel bashing again. It's not something I like to do. When I first started reading comics, Marvel was my #1 company. Just, I don't know, at the moment I've fallen out of love with them. It happened after the Avengers vs X-Men debacle. I got the feeling after reading that book that they've lost their way a little bit. Their moral compass is a bit wonky. They sort of tend to be taking the side of the establishment of the government. They're a corporation company, they're a corporation, aren't they? A statist corporation who think that the power of the state is good, the power of authority is good. You basically follow orders and do as you're told. That's a good thing. That's how I see Marvel comics. They're all America, yay, 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 sort of thing, but not actually understanding what America, yay, 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 actually means. You have heroes like Captain America, for example. This is one example. Captain America. If he was a real hero, and if the writers who write them nowadays were actually using him properly, don't you think you'd have something to say about what's going on in the world right now? How about Obama funding the terrorists in Libya? Now wanting to defund and arm the terrorists in Syria. Two examples. So you can talk about the NSA spying, the stuff that Edward Snowden's been revealing recently. None of it's been shown in Marvel Comics, is it? Although Marvel Comics is supposed to be set in New York, Captain America is supposed to be a guy who's walking around. If you read the comics, he's supposed to be a guy who's walking around present-day New York. Yeah, he hasn't got a word to say about anything that's going on in the world today, has he? All he's got to say is about things happening in the 1940s, fighting evil Nazis, maybe aliens, and Russians as well. How the hell are the Russians the bad guys nowadays? But they are in Marvel Comics, so it's a very backwards-looking company corporation that can't reflect reality in 2014. Perhaps it's because they are set in what is ostensibly the real world, and you've got DC Comics, obviously, which is set in places like Gotham and Metropolis. They don't have to deal with the real world issues. Just when you read a Marvel comic, you almost have to take your brain out of your head, and it's really it's insultingly unintelligent. Really, it's almost like reading a comic book before 2001, maybe even like the mid 1990s. Really. You have like terrorists who are Christian fundamentals. You have problems with the IRA. You see that in Marvel Comics every now and then. You have old IRA people popping up. You have lots of Cold War era Russian spies popping up, like I'll name the Black Widow and Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. But you have nothing that reflects the world post Afghanistan and post Iraq and Edward Snowden, like I said. And all the other things that are happening now, none of it appears in Marvel Comics. It's really a statist corporation that adores the state, adores authority, affords central power, and it's just too much. It's just too much. I can't deal with it. So what I do every now and then is, rather than just saying, right, that's it, I'm not going to touch it, I'm not going to have anything to do with it anymore, I dip into it every now and then, and I'm a fingers crossed and hope that there'll be some courageous writer who's going to slip in some real world information, a real world analysis, and into Marvel Comics. But you just never see it. I mean, I realise because I don't read all the Marvel Comics that lots of people out there read, that I might be missing a lot of stuff. So if there's anything that's happening in Marvel Comics now that's reflecting the world, what's actually going on in the world in 2014, let me know, because I didn't find it in this comic here, Audio Invaders #1. So I'll read out my review from Geeked Out Nation. That's enough for my rantering. The artwork here was good. That's the thing about art. That's the thing about Marvel Comics. They're very pretty. They just don't say anything. That's probably the best way of summing up Marvel Comics, really. Pretty comics that don't say anything. I'll give it to would I give it to a kid? I probably wouldn't give it to a kid, really, because I want a kid to actually have some sort of comic that reflects the world he's living in, and Marvel Comics don't do that. So I probably wouldn't even give it to a kid. Right, here's my review of this comic. I wasn't impressed. A bit of doors in the background, by the way. Hang on. Okay, so all new Invaders #1. is my review. Hopefully it's fair, but let's see. Let me know what you think. To review, All New Invaders #1. Positives: very nice art, it's action-packed, and it's for fans of the original Human Torch, and it's an easy to follow plot. The negatives: extremely generic, same plot as Fear itself, more Marvel World War II stuff with evil Nazis and aliens, completely irrelevant to the world of 2014, by the number storytelling, not very interesting, and the main character is annoying. Bottom line: another generic Marvel book about aliens and Nazis. Nice art, but that's about it. And here's the review. I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed about myself. Am I really changing so much that I'm now entirely incapable of enjoying the kind of comics that got me into comics in the first place? But I not just switch off my brain, pick up a book and enjoy it for the silly escapist fun that it's supposed to be? Well, I think I can. The problem is not that I'm anti-fun, the problem is that I'm anti-redundant comic. And that's what I'm looking at right in front of me right now. Another Marvel comic and yet another redundant one. To clarify my position here, the first comics that I ever read were Marvel comics. I loved all the characters, got all the hardcover books, watched the movies, and even got the coffee mugs. There you go. And pyjamas. So when did it all start to get pear-shaped for me? Because these days I don't read one single monthly Marvel book at all. Thor has become a symbol of American interventionist foreign policy. Captain America runs away from the NSA by hiding in alternative dimensions. And Iron Man appears to spend most of his time fighting alien creatures and complaining about his dad. It's just too inane for me now, and every time I dip into it I immediately feel underwhelmed by the tepid, lukewarm nature of it all and jump straight back out again. And so I come to All New Invaders, might as well be Avengers really, All New Invaders #1 by James Robinson and Steve Pugh. I'm attracted by the name of the writer because he's the same guy who just wrote a very cool book called The Saviors, and after a quick flip through the pages in my comic book shop, I like the art, so yet again take a chance on another new Marvel comic. I cross my fingers, take the book home, get myself a cup of coffee, and dive back into the world of Marvel. What do I find? The same old, tepid, lukewarm nonsense that I always find, and it bloody annoys me. I want these books to be good, and they are no good at all. What's to be done? Seriously, does anybody know what can be done? Is it just my bad luck that every time I pick up a Marvel book it's completely blah? Perhaps it's me. Seriously, perhaps it's just me. But anyway, here's a quick plot synopsis of what I found to be yet another yawn-inducing Marvel comic book. The book begins with a prologue that centers on some aliens in the desert. They're looking for something, and I'm guessing it's some sort of weapon of mass destruction that threatens the planet. And we'll need our heroes to defeat them so they don't unleash it. So far, so blah. Then we go to the Human Torch, aka Jim Hammond, and see his normal everyday life as he's working in a garage that could be set in 1964, 1984, or 2014. He's living in one of those nice small towns that always appear in comics, the kind of town where people know their neighbours and people aren't stuck to their Blackberries or other mobile devices from the moment they get up to the moment they go to bed. The Torch tells his story and he's all emo, whiny and full of self-pity. Then a big blue alien flies in, kills his boss and starts wrecking the place. There are lots of big panels, lots of funny moments of action as the Torch fights back, and then it's flashback mode to the place where Marvel Comics are most comfortable these days, World War II. The flashback is typical Marvel Nazi stuff and details a sexy villain who was working for the Nazis with special magic that I'm guessing has now been unleashed into the world today. Remember that first section in the desert? And what is going to happen here is that the invaders will be playing a role of UN weapons inspectors in superhero pants who will have to beat up some alien bad guys to get their dangerous weapons off of them. Hang on, isn't this the same plot as the Fear Itself event? And that's it. If you want to hang around for a few months and watch the invaders beat up some aliens and get their magic weapons back, and this is the comic for you. If however you have better things to do with your time, then I wouldn't bother. So what's good about the book? There must be something, right? Sure there is. The artwork by Steve Pugh is pretty darn good throughout. He draws the human body very well, and is particularly good with the large action panels as well. The story, although extremely generic, could also appeal to the young reader, and perhaps to the older reader who wants to revel in some nostalgia in regards to the old Invaders team and their adventures in WW2. But for me personally, this is just another disappointing Marvel comic book. Often about it says 2014. The character of Jim Hammond is a whiny bloke who has decided to hide away in a small town and stop engaging with the world around him. The film is straight out of Fear itself, both in terms of motivations and even the look, which is alien bad girl with big hammer. Will the aliens get the weapons, or will the good guys stop them? What do you reckon? As for me, frankly, my dear Marvel, I really couldn't give a damn. And my rating for this book was a 5.8 out of 10, which I think was actually quite generous, really. About 5.8 out of 10 is all it's worth. And that's because the artwork's decent. There's nothing in this book storyline-wise or underlying themes. There is no underlying themes. It's just aliens are trying to get weapons. Good guys got to stop them. That's it. It's like Saddam Hussein, who's an alien, who's trying to get weapons of mass destruction. It's just a load of crap. But obviously, with the Saddam Hussein story, you've got the underlying real-world intrigue going on there. You know that Saddam Hussein doesn't really have weapons of mass destruction. It's just an excuse for America to invade them. With this comic, I guess the aliens are bad guys and really do want to get back weapons of mass destruction. But that's it. It's all surface stuff. It's just uninteresting. So, all new Invaders, number 1. Oh God, I've dived into Marvel again, and I found it to be tepid and lukewarm. Please let me know if there's a Marvel comic out there which is different, which is exploring what's happening in the world today, because I really want to read it. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks for looking at my review. I'm sorry I have to do some Marvel bashing again. I don't like to do it. As you can see from my cup here, I want to like Marvel. I just read the comics and they suck. Poor me. So thanks for looking at my video, and take care. I'll see you all later, guys. Goodbye.